will actually tell you how you can bring everything together. Yoga does not tell you to leave one and choose the other. You know, it's a union. In a copy-paste world, you know, उसका कॉपी मेरी जिंदगी में पेस्ट होना चाहिए. उसने ट्रैवल किया, मुझे भी ट्रैवल करना है. उसने खरीदा, मुझे भी खरीदना है. Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and all those people, they're regular practitioners.
Yeah.
They have a good morning routines, night routines. They practice meditation, they practice their rituals very seriously.
Yeah.
And that's the time they're gaining everything which is beyond their limited mind. अगर आपको खुद की रिपेयर पसंद नहीं है और compromise करनी है, then it's your choice. The very first thing yoga does for you is make you aware of what's happening. In today's time, every problem that you're experiencing is psychosomatic in nature. It's all linked to your mind. It's all linked to your thoughts. Your mind will reject you if you commit to your mind that I'm going to do this, and you fail to do this. Your mind will reject you for a bigger decision. Your mind will say sorry.
Hello everyone, my name is Pranav and I'm your host at the Gut Feel Show. This is a podcast on mental well-being where we invite guests from all walks of life and we discuss different aspects of well-being in their profession and in their life. Our today's guest is a yoga practitioner, Shynee. And this podcast revolves around what can yoga do to your body and mind. हमने डिस्कस किया एंजाइटी के बारे में, हमने डिस्कस किया स्लीप के बारे में एंड ऑल दैट योगा हैज़ टू ऑफर इफ़ यू सरेंडर टू योगा. This podcast is very, very important if you want to understand anxiety, sleep, and also what is the importance and what can be the impact of mantras and chanting in your life. Please इस podcast को end तक देखिएगा if you really want to understand the impact of yoga, and keep watching and subscribe us for more such content. Hello and welcome to the Gut Feel Show, Shynee. How are you doing?
I'm good, Pranav. Thanks for having me here.
The pleasure is mine, and I'm very intrigued to know about your journey of yoga, how and when it started, because I know people who are very deep into yoga, the journey started at some point in their life. So how did it start for you, and what were you doing prior to it?
Okay. So I never thought I will be a yoga teacher or I will have anything to do with yoga.
Okay.
Because that was not my plan A. In fact, I'm a science graduate and with a marketing degree. So I started working in a corporate, a typical 9 to 5 in a market research agency.
Okay.
And this was back in 2007. So fortunately, my HR were at that time like very advanced. So they said, हम yoga classes शुरू कर रहे हैं office hours से पहले.
Oh, nice.
So you can come an hour early and attend that class 1 घंटे के लिए and then start your day. So 8:30 to 9:30 in the morning, I used to have classes in my office premise thrice a week for yoga. And I said, ये अच्छा तो sound कर रहा है.
This was very progressive for 2007.
Exactly. Very progressive.
2007, no one was
Nobody was
yoga.
talking about yoga. You're absolutely right. And I had similar thoughts. I was like, अच्छा तो sound कर रहा है, but yoga, मतलब योगा से क्या ही होगा. मतलब
यही था पहले. The thought process earlier was योगा से क्या होगा.
योगा से क्या होगा. So I thought zumba करेंगे, डांस करेंगे, कुछ तो मस्ती, high energy करेंगे. You know, like in your 20s, you're not thinking के अनुलोम विलोम करेंगे.
Correct. Slow down कोई होना नहीं चाहता है. People are like fast paced, gym जाएंगे, fast music करेंगे.
And especially in that age. You know, 20s is not a time when you want to chill.
It was considered as something for either spiritual people or old people.
Old people.
There was a very different connotation to it.
Absolutely. So I was thinking, मुझे कभी wrist rotation करने थोड़ी बैठना है यहाँ पर.
Right.
So I never looked at yoga as a form of, you know, physical activity. और मुझे लगा था बहुत simple होगा. So I was very hesitant. My mother and my sister actually pushed me. They said, why don't you give it a try? There's no harm. It's within your office premise. कहीं travel नहीं करना. 1 घंटा आप जल्दी चले जाओ. You will beat the office traffic. I said, okay, let's try.
Makes sense.
First class, And I'm very thankful to my first teacher. His name is Shambhuji Maharaj. And this gentleman walked in a white kurta and dhoti and had black long hair and so much glow on his face, like radiating glow. And he was in his mid 40s.
Oh, wow.
And his biceps, and the forearms are this huge and strong, masculine man. Very, very strong. Short heighted, very strong man. And I looked at him and I was like, okay. And then first class, one session, 20 minutes into the session, we all were panting. Bus. And he's like, listen you guys, you're half my age. मैं तुमसे double हूँ अपनी age में. और मुझे एक sweat का एक दाना नहीं आया. And look at you guys. And we saw his stamina, his strength, his flexibility, his endurance, the smile he had, the glow he had, and I couldn't figure out,
nice.
Wow. Wow was my reaction. And within a couple of classes, my whole perception of yoga that I had earlier, वो बिल्कुल पानी में गया.
बिल्कुल, yoga is magical.
It's magical. So then I saw him and then I realized beyond the physical, visible attributes, बहुत कुछ और था.
Correct.
बहुत कुछ और.
Multiple layers to it. It goes way, way deeper.
Very deep.
From what we see.
So I think thanks to my first teacher, my Guruji, जिनसे मुझे yoga सीखने को मिला, and I realized that this is very unique, and my whole life started to change. So I would say the first physical thing, that obvious things were like I lost weight and I was looking more toned. I had more glow on my face as well. Hair fall kam ho gaya, pimples kam ho gaye, which were I would say the side effects of yoga, byproduct of yoga. But actually, the real achievement was when my mother came back and told me, तुम पहले से कम चिल्लाती हो घर पे. खुश हो. My peers, my colleagues came back and told me कि अब आप इतना गुस्सा नहीं करते हो, client escalations भी नहीं हो रहे हैं, क्या हो रहा है?
What has changed?
I could not pinpoint actually. Much later I realized that everybody is noticing this change, not just my near ones. So I was like, this is really working, and I was more calm in tricky situations. Whenever my juniors were coming to me with problems and chaotic situations, I would be like, hey, क्यों stress ले रहे हो? ढूंढ लेंगे ना कोई answer.
Correct.
And they're like, आप इतने chill कब से हो गए हो?
Like, patience कैसे?
ये क्या हुआ? I used to be the hyper one, very hyper one. So I was like, नहीं हो जाएगा. So they started noticing the difference, and I started feeling the difference. And I did not leave yoga after that.
Wow.
So this was 2008, and since then I have been practicing. And it's been a very long journey, even though I have changed many professions and wore many hats during my journey. But yoga has been a constant for the last 14-15 years.
Sounds like a perfect story for being at the right time and the right place.
Yeah. I think it was divine's grace. मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. अगर मेरे HR ने decide नहीं किया होता, and we did not have a great teacher to begin with, I don't think I would have continued. But it's all divine's plan. So I keep saying this कि आप योगा को नहीं चुनते हो, योग आपको चुनता है.
Correct.
So it comes to you. बहुत ही अच्छे कर्म होंगे. You must have done some great deeds in your previous lifetimes. So you are, practicing yoga in this lifetime. That's my belief.
I think that is very true. And it is very rare that people continue it for a long time.
Yes.
A lot of people touch it and fall
leave
back.
It
is very difficult to understand it like the way you have understood it, beyond the physical changes. There are multiple layers to it. I would like to know more about it. Explain and elaborate briefly, because I know deeply it is too vast for a podcast to record. Briefly, what do you think is yoga in today's time with such a hustling life that we have, a difficult lifestyle that we are living, where work-life balance is also difficult? So how to even do a physical or a basically a life transforming practice which requires a lot of balance?
So let me just simply put this. people don't know the theory behind yoga. Most people don't. So योग के 8 steps है, 8 limbs हैं, जो यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार, धारणा, ध्यान और समाधि है. But this is not known to many people, and they don't even need to know, to be honest. This is my understanding to begin with. Only if you want to go deeper and really practice, you should know. You must know. But even if I tell you as a layman, in this hustling world, is this culture where people are like rushing and running and trying to achieve more, do more, get more, attain more. Yoga will actually tell you how you can bring everything together. Yoga does not tell you to leave one and choose the other. You know, it's a union. The word itself means union. तो अगर मैं बिल्कुल मटेरियलिस्टिक चीज़ों को छोड़ दूंगी और सोचूंगी कि स्पिरिचुअलिटी ही चाहिए मुझको, जो कि बहुत पॉपुलर डिबेट है कि यू नो दिस वर्सेस that is a wrong question to ask.
That is again you're falling out of yoga.
You're falling out of yoga because the word itself says union, which means you have to have both. To be in this materialistic world, to sustain in this world, you need things here. You know, it's not possible that you don't want a chat or food or, you know, clothes on your body. वो नहीं होगा. You will still have to live unless until you decide to be a monk, which is a different journey.
Oh, that's a very difficult one.
Very difficult one. And also, I would say it has its own ways. Being here in this world also, it's very difficult. At the same time, it has its own difficulties. So, but if you are renouncing this and choosing the other one, you are making an either or choice. But योग ये नहीं सिखाता है. योग आपको सिखाता है सब कुछ इकट्ठा. And balance.
Yeah, balance is the key.
Balance is the word. So even if you are, you know, like a corporate executive or like a corporate professional or a businessman or a freelancer or anybody, even a housewife, make yoga a part of your life. You don't have to renounce the world to be a yogi. My firm belief is कि आप जो कर रहे हो उससे आप करते जाइए, वो आपका धर्म है, यू मस्ट डू इट. लेकिन साथ में कुछ योगिक प्रैक्टिसेस को आप अडॉप्ट कर लीजिए. समथिंग दैट गिव्स यू दैट सेंस ऑफ ग्राउंडिंगनेस, दैट स्टेबिलिटी, एंड कैन ऑल्सो टेल यू वेयर टू ड्रॉ अ लाइन, which is very important. We kind of miss that bit. So achieving उतना over achieving हो जाता है कि वहाँ आपको limits भूल जाती हैं. So yoga tells you that limits.
Yeah.
You know, it teaches you that, you know what, are you not, you know, are you not overdoing this? Like, do you really need
to
40?
Have some boundaries around.
Yeah, you really need 40 pairs of, you know, shoes. Do you really need that 50th bag? Do you really need that 100, you know, pair of, you know, socks or whatever? Like, do you really need it?
Actually, it tells us to not just keep on running, but to also stop and see the world around rather than just getting the next best thing.
Correct. And it also tells you there's more to life.
Yeah.
It's just not about collecting stuff. That's just a one part of awareness you will get.
We have made it the major part of our life now.
हाँ.
Collecting things or basically.
हम हासिल क्यों कर रहे हैं? If I was to ask you, प्रणव, तुम ज़्यादा पैसा क्यों कमाना चाहते हो?
It is most of the time for people about things that they see they must have.
Correct. So what are the things
they
on
don't
your list?
they might not need it, but because they see they must have is why they're running.
Yeah.
There's no deeper connection to that thing. It is just a superficial sort of urge to have it because you saw it somewhere and now you feel that you also need it.
Yeah, but that's where yoga comes in, because yoga teaches you the difference between needs, wants and desires. So this understanding, you must have heard this many times, differentiate your needs and wants, you know, prioritize this. But where this understanding is coming from? कैसे पता लगता है ये मेरी ज़रूरत है, ये मेरी चाह है, ये मेरी इच्छा है, क्या है ये? Why am I running after this? So yoga brings this awareness to you. yoga actually helps you understand, is it something you just doing because the world is doing, or is it something you want to do?
So it takes you deeper into your own consciousness maybe and helps you question these deeper questions, like
Absolutely.
because that bigger why of life, that why do I need it, is something we leave all the time because that why is quite difficult to face.
Yes.
It's not easy to face the
It's
why.
not easy to face the why.
We skip it most of the time and we keep on hopping from one to the other thing and then finally exhaust and sleep and then begin the next day with hopping around again.
I say this very often. We live in a copy paste world. You know, उसका कॉपी मेरी जिंदगी में पेस्ट होना चाहिए. उसने ट्रैवल किया, मुझे भी ट्रैवल करना है. उसने खरीदा, मुझे भी खरीदना है. वो यहाँ खाना खाने गया, मुझे भी खाना है. It's like you're just doing copy paste.
That is also why on social media, educational content works the least. Most of the time, what works is FOMO.
Correct. Fear of
missing out. What works the most is negativity because it gets shared the most. People want to address the fear.
Brain is designed that way.
We have learned to feed on fear. So we enjoy sharing things which are maybe fearful or negative, or we are seeking pleasure in seeing things that we think we want. So educational content takes a back seat because educational content goes deeper into the knowledge and asks a lot of why questions, and it is heavy.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah, not for everybody, but I would say yeah, for majority of people they want fun. But yoga actually makes you have fun in a unique way. Then you're having fun without needing all of these tamjham around you. Like I have more fun than ever before because now I'm not dependent on any of these. There is no urge कि मुझे ये चीज़ मिलेगी या मैं यहाँ जाऊँगी या ये खाऊँगी तो ही मैं खुश होंगी. There's no such need for me like that. Like now I'm happy irrespective of all of these. And that's the real strength.
Yeah.
It's not the physical strength that you get from practicing the asana. This is the real strength, that I'm not dependent on what's available to me and what's not available to me. Irrespective of that, I know I have a good day today.
Yeah. And I also, my personal experience, I was practicing Ashtanga Yoga. When I started it, it felt really, really difficult to me because I was overweight at that time. So it took me, I took it very slow. Started going.
It's actually not a beginner's practice.
Yeah. But I just coincidentally, after I went to a solo trip to Spiti, I realized I need to get fit. I was having panting issues and all, so I was like, I'll go back and start yoga. I found a teacher in South Delhi and in Shahpur Jat. And then I started at his institute. The teacher was someone else.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he was in Japan at that time, but there were other teachers who were taking different forms of classes. But I took the Ashtanga one. I started it, and after 7 to 8 months, I just loved that practice. Why? Because it was bringing my mind and body at the same point. I was thoughtless after the practice for a good 1 hour. That felt like
that is the real real purpose.
That state of mind was so I would say that was so happy state for me that I wanted to do it more and more and wanted to achieve that state more and more. That took me deeper into the practice because the outcome of that practice, that 1 hour of thoughtlessness, was the best time for me.
I think I call this as in my language, this is the real addiction.
Yeah.
What kept me going for so many years. I'll be very honest. So when people say, why do you practice? So I said, that few moments after I finish my practice in pranayam, the few moments there where I do not even realize that my physical body exists. I do not even realize that my breath exists. I do not even realize that my mental body exists.
Yeah.
I do not even realize that my emotional body exists, because all that existed was that silence and the nothingness.
Exactly, this state was I was talking about. You elaborated it very nicely. This is the state I had fallen in love with, and that kept me going deeper into it. I even went to Mysore. I was practicing it That state was my goal actually. No physical achievement and all.
That is the goal for every
Yeah,
yoga
yeah,
practitioner. If you ask a person who's been practicing for long, they do not want to achieve a Kundalini asana or
six-pack abs or this,
no,
yeah.
it's already done. They've crossed that stage long back. They're not looking at कि मेरा chaturanga का elbow का angle क्या है.
Correct.
That's not the point of yoga.
They're working for that state of mind.
Yeah, they're working for something that they know they haven't touched and experienced in many things in life. Like how many things you do or what kind of experiences you have on a day-to-day basis that makes you reach to that level.
No.
बहुत ही कम होगा. Flow state भी बोलते हैं कई लोग उनको उसको. And there are many names to that. But if you want to really taste it, you will have to surrender to the process.
Yeah.
You will have to have faith that I'm doing it without any expectations, and it may come any second, any moment. Sometimes you experience it while you're doing pranayama also. Sometimes you're experiencing while reading a book as well.
Sometimes you experience it, you go to a mesmerizing place on a travel, maybe you see mountains and then you feel it. It comes at different times, but this, if you have a continuous practice and if you are very, very diligent to it, then you can maybe try and get it 4 to 5 times a week, maybe.
There's no number to it, I believe. It's personal and different for everybody. But I surely know that there is no one common way to do it. People have their own methods and ways to experience it. Yoga is a sure short method.
True.
For sure.
True.
And I'm not negating all the other methods and techniques available, because I also practice many other techniques and I understand that all have a role to play. It depends on your individuality, your personality, what do you get attracted to more. So without taking away from any other practice, I would say it's beautiful and still something, if you do on regular basis, even besides having this, busy life, you can get a lot out of it. So when people are hustling and thinking I need to do more, achieve more, great, please have goals. I'm not against having goals and ambitions. What I want to tell them is that just make a little bit of time in your life for this practice, because it will bring more clarity to your goals. Also. It will bring more speed to your goals. In fact, it's no chance that all this 5 a.m. club and all these high achievers, high performers are so, pro meditation and breathing and the physical practices. They all understand that this is how you hack into that state.
And you stay consistent to it.
And you stay consistent with it. So, in order to do more, like for example, if you're running a business, and you've started a brand of your own, you need to have ideas and you need to have vision which is better or little further than the rest of the people. And where is this coming from? Where is this understanding coming from? It's coming from a dimension which is not really accessible to you from a logical mind point of view. You can't think about it, because you can only think the thoughts, which is the sum total of all the things that have been shared to you so far. So if it is just a accumulation or a culmination of all the things already available in your environment, then how are you thinking something that's beyond that? To be able to get into that state, to be able to, I would say, access that higher state, you need something that's beyond the limits of the body and mind. And that thing comes in your meditation practice. That's the secret. You would notice that people who have got a lot, including, the achievers like Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and all those people, they're regular practitioners. They have a good morning routines, night routines. They practice meditation, they practice their rituals very seriously. And that's the time they're gaining everything which is beyond their limited mind.
They're being limitless by using these tools.
Yes, they become limitless by using these tools. They're hacking into it, and it's available for everybody.
It is available. I think we just lost value for it over time because we were looking at more of the Western top layer, and they started looking at the Eastern deeper layers, and they
Yes.
started learning meditation,
उल्टा हो गया.
and we started buying burgers. So that is where I think the change happened.
I love that line. They started learning meditation, and we started buying burgers.
Yeah, that is what was happening.
Exactly,
the
यही हुआ.
last 2 decades.
Hmm.
Also, Shynee, tell me about sleep. What do you think is the importance of sleep? Because it is very, it is something people are scared of now because they're having issues with sleep.
So I actually recently shot some content around this also. Hustle culture has really popularized working 14, 18 hours a day and sustaining with very little sleep. So people take pride in this.
Yeah.
कि मैं सिर्फ 5 घंटे या 4 घंटे सो के पूरा दिन काम कर सकता हूँ. Unfortunately, bad idea.
Yeah.
It's
Eventually,
not,
it will hit you.
it'll hit you, and I'll quote the example of Mr. Nitin Kamath, who is the CEO of Zerodha, who recently got a heart attack because of this. And this man is very strong. I've seen him in person as well. And he's very, very strong and everything fine. His routine in terms of gymming and exercising and eating right, everything was fine. And still, if he got a heart attack, everybody was puzzled in knowing what happened. So it was because of the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
That was the primary reason that his body could not cope up with the whole pressure. And, God has given us a gift. Whatever has happened during the day, for 16 hours of your day, you can just simply take this in and process it before you go to sleep, and then just wipe out during your sleep hours.
Reset.
And reset. Just wipe out and reset. Reset in a way so that you are charged for the next day. And that reset period is something we are not utilizing. We've forgotten that reset period is so important. हम छोटे थे, हमें कितना अच्छा लगता था सोना. We used to love sleeping. अरे छुट्टी है, सो जाओ यार. मतलब no other thing to do.
I think we have started competing with sleep.
We literally started competing with sleep.
We want to reduce it because we want more things, and we think more things are achieved by sleeping less.
Or also because we thought कि इससे तो मुझे क्या ही मिल रहा है. इससे क्या ही benefit हो रहा है. I have other things that will give me more.
Because we are more of object driven in terms of
coming back to the same.
Yeah, so we want something objectified कि इसका return क्या है, ROI क्या है.
Sleep का ROI क्या है? क्या है return on investment? अब sleep का अगर ROI आप समझ लेंगे कि सोने से आपको मिल क्या रहा है, तो आप उसको कभी cut short नहीं करेंगे. You have to first understand that sleep is a time where your whole system is getting detoxified, especially from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's where your kidneys and livers are functioning and detoxifying the whole body. It's also known as a beauty sleep hours, these hours.
Yeah.
अगर आप ये वाले time पे नहीं सो रहे हो and you're up, guess what? All your detox drinks that you've been drinking and all the detox pills you've been taking are not gonna work.
Going down the drain.
They're down the drain. Actually, they don't even work. Your pills don't detox your bodies. Your juices don't detox your body. It's your kidneys and liver.
Yeah.
If you don't give enough time and rest to them for their functioning, how the hell your body is going to function?
True.
So you need to be in bed at 10 or 10:30 last, so that your organs can do the functioning they have been assigned. And that's a natural repair thing, like a natural repair mechanism happening inside. अगर आपको खुद की repair पसंद नहीं है और compromise करनी है, then it's your choice. Completely your choice. But imagine not paying a single rupee to anybody, no mechanic. I mean by mechanic here a doctor, and no pills, nothing. Just by sleeping.
You have your own small incubation process where you can sleep and reset yourself.
Reset yourself and come back rejuvenated.
True, but I think also in the last few decades, I think I'm not blaming anyone, but there was a time when the parents were also pushing or telling the kids कि मतलब सोना मक्कारी है और ये है वो है, अगर सोओगे तो पीछे रह जाओगे, रेस है लाइफ, सोने से लाइफ में बाद में सो लेना, अभी नहीं सोना. I think that plus also the work culture, when it became from 9 to 5, then it started becoming 24-hour work because companies were global now, so आपका US time में Indian sleeping time हो रहा है. So I think
Big mess.
lot of things came together to the millennials, I believe, and the millennials are the sandwich generation.
Yeah.
They bear all the outcomes of the last 2-3 decades.
बहुत ही फनी सिचुएशन में है वो, लाइक उनको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा होता हम इधर जाएं कि इधर जाएं.
हाँ, they are stuck in between. मतलब पिछली जनरेशन का भी वो झेल रहे हैं, अभी जो चेंजेस हुए हैं वो भी उनको झेलना है, नेक्स्ट जनरेशन जो फास्ट पेस जा रही है वो उनके बच्चे होने वाले हैं, तो आई थिंक इट इज दे आर ट्रबल्ड फ्रॉम बोथ द साइड्स.
Yeah. But I think people are now understanding the importance that sleep is just a very beautiful gift given to you. If you can just utilize it well, then it'll be great.
Yeah.
You know, you just reset. And I would say not just sleep, develop a nighttime routine before you go to sleep and then go for sleep, because the transition from your day to the sleep period, there's a point in between, a middle time in between, which is very beautiful. So your body and your mind actually is making a transition from your conscious to your subconscious mind. This transition can be used as a pathway to feed in whatever you want to feed to your subconscious.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you feed yourself in this hour gets stores in your permanent memory.
When you say feed, means by reading a book or by the thoughts?
Whatever you're doing. Like some people watch Netflix at this hour. Some people binge watching. Some people are scrolling reels. Some people are reading a book. Some people are just chit-chatting with their sibling or partner, whomsoever they're sharing the space with. And the different people are doing different things just before going to bed. But they don't realize the importance of that hour. That particular hour is so precious. If you would have understood that, you would have chosen that hour to transform your life. That's why high achievers and high performers would all the time, without any fail, will have a good nighttime routine. So before they go to bed, they ensure they're brushing and everything, skincare and everything is done. But they come to that space and ensure that they're writing words of gratitude. So gratitude journaling is a very beautiful practice you can do before you go to bed. You jot down all the things that you're grateful for and just say thank you God for this and thank you for this, thank you for this. This just resets your mind. Forgiveness is another very powerful practice you should do before going to bed. Because if you're going into your subconscious with grudges, anger and irritation or frustration or something negative about somebody, guess what? Your mind is going to store that forever. And tomorrow morning you will get up with a very tired state and you will be like, मुझे headache क्यों हो रहा है and मुझे इतना भारी क्यों लग रहा है? That's because whole night you have just processed what went wrong.
And a lot of people get involved in gossiping before sleeping.
Yes.
That is where they fall into this trap.
A lot of people fall, like they do gossiping, or imagine some people watching a horror film or a thriller film.
Plus the content that we have, the dark content.
They're feeding all of that while sleeping in, and that's getting processed. And no wonder when people meet with such situations, the subconscious is giving that information. Hey, something can go wrong here. Because that's what you've been storing in your head. It's but obvious that your first reactions are coming out of fear and not out of faith. So when this is all you're feeding in, that's all you're going to get.
I think this is something where we left the touch of our Eastern philosophy of faith and religion and these good practices. And I have still not understood why was Crime Patrol the show at 11 p.m. Before sleeping, how can someone watch Crime Patrol?
It solves a purpose. It keeps the audience in the state the world wants them.
So it is all a part of manipulation that happens Because these people, the big companies who know how to run the big shows, they know what people will feed on.
No, that's not what they feed on. That's how a human brain works. And they've understood the
Fight and
psychology
flight,
of
maybe, yeah.
no, they've understood the psychology of human brain. So they spend a lot of money reading about human brains.
Full research. They have big research on this.
Billions of amount being spent on that. So the fact is that they understand that if they control the human brain, and you know these are the points where they can control us and feed into the negative or do whatever content we are getting fed with. They know that we will always be under their influence.
Yeah.
We are always conditioned. We'll remain conditioned. Social media is another attempt for the same.
True.
It's a very smart attempt.
Micro attempt.
No, I would not even call it an attempt. I would call it a very smart strategy.
Yeah.
Social media is a very smart strategy, from all these people to ensure that we remain conditioned.
Yeah. And this is much more intrusive. It is into our life more than the television.
Exactly. There is no switch off button. There is no ke show khatam ho gaya hai. There is no ending to it.
There's no end.
And this social media thing is just playing with our hormones so much. Like, for you to experience the feeling of love and the feeling of cringe and disgust and the feeling of cuteness, all within the span of like 15 seconds each, is damaging your system.
Yeah.
People don't realize this, that you're not supposed to do this. If you see a child crying, have you ever seen a child crying like for just 15 seconds and then like, okay, it takes a little
Change,
while.
and then wear a different hat.
It takes a while. The graph for every emotion is this, like a normal curve.
Yeah.
You start experiencing it. It goes to the highest point and then it dips. Then you find another one. Imagine now the graph is going, before it builds up, like let's say
it is cut off.
Correct. Like you saw a very cute, cat video or a dog video. So the graph is going up, and as soon as you scroll the video,
it's a horror something.
And then there's something else, and there's a news in the media that someone was killed or something.
So it is like small spikes of every emotion.
You see how it is moving? So the graph never really went through the normal curve. So what is happening with our emotions is fluctuating so fast that we've become numb.
Yeah, that's a very nice way of putting it, because in the form of graphs, you can understand that you are only all the time fluctuating now.
We're only fluctuating. We're not even experiencing one emotion fully. As a result, we are becoming so numb every single day. And people are thinking, why is it I'm unable to focus? Why is it I'm unable to, bring my attention to a point? Because you are not trained for it anymore.
This brings me to my next topic, which is around the anxiety. Because do you think this is also feeding into the anxiety?
That's exactly what anxiety is.
Yeah.
It has many ways, like many forms, and I'm not an expert on the subject, but that's what it is. You are really going from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other.
Because the fluctuation by design means that you are anxious.
Anxious, correct.
Stability and anxiety are two different sides. And fluctuation definitely signifies anxiety.
Absolutely.
And if we are being fed into it by the social media also at some point in time, what do you think is the role of yoga? If people who have experienced yoga feel that calmness at the end, and it is people say that yoga brings you that stability in life.
The very first thing yoga does for you is make you aware of what's happening. At least till the time you don't even realize that this is happening to you, there's no chance you can come out of it.
Yeah.
So awareness is the first step.
Yeah.
Because you're practicing yoga on your mat, when you're doing your asana practice, when you're doing your pranayama practice, you are building awareness every single minute. That awareness doesn't stay on the mat. It stays with you throughout the day, if you've been regular with your practice. So every time now you're scrolling through or binge watching a Netflix show, you will realize, hey, wait a minute, is this something I really intend to do? Is it something that I really need this? Am I really enjoying it? Am I getting addicted to it? Is it taking control of me, or am I in control of it?
I think that is more like zooming out from the object and being more subject conscious and seeing things from a distance where you can see the bigger picture.
Yes.
Otherwise, most of the times we get consumed by the object.
We get so consumed by it that we do not even know that
We are a part of it.
are we a part of it, or is it like who's the observer and who's getting observed?
Because a lot of time when you see these things, these high spiking, emotion spiking things, you feel that emotion at a lot of times.
You do.
Maybe if you're watching something horrible, you will be sweating.
You do, of course.
So you are feeling those emotions because you are getting consumed by that thought or the video or whatever it is.
Absolutely. That's why all these things sell so much.
Yeah.
That's why if you would, there's a list we all know that, sex sells, violence sells, thrill sells, because those are very, very highly, I would say, provoking emotions, very triggers I would use. And humans are not designed to experience it like that.
In fluctuating manner.
Not in fluctuating manner, and with the dosage that it's available to us.
Yeah. Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Earlier it was like महीने में एक picture release होगी and we all plan for it, tickets खरीद के and go watch for it. Now everything is available all the time.
Also because understand how human brain functions. Human brains are designed in a way that there's a fight and flight mode, which gets activated when there's an emergency or a problem. Okay, and there's a rest and digest mode, which is the usual mode. If I look at nature, look at the plants, look at the trees, mountains, sun, wind, all the 5 elements. They are not in a fight and flight mode on daily basis.
Yeah.
You don't experience earthquake or volcanoes on daily basis. Yeah. It's not the case. Mostly they are in rest and digest or resting state most of the time. वो अपने ही time पे sun आ रहा है जा रहा है, wind is just moving, and everything is happening at the pace that it should. Yeah. That is the pace human beings are designed to live with. We were given a fight and flight mode so that if something happens which puts you in a state of emergency, you should be able to save yourself.
For survival.
For survival, which means your fight and flight mode should be used only during emergencies for survival. We have reversed it.
Right now it is a full-time state.
We have totally reversed it. Now we are in fight and flight mode so often that we have forgotten that our core state is rest.
Yes.
It's a relaxation. We've just switched the whole game. And now we are so anxious. We're talking about anxiety. We are so anxious that why this and this. That's because that's not our natural state. We need to learn from nature.
Yeah.
Nature actually just presses the emergency button only to reset things.
And that too very few times.
Exactly. Very few times. Yeah. It's meant for emergency.
Yeah.
This state is only meant for emergency.
Imagine nature doing it every day. We won't survive. Survive ही नहीं करेंगे हम.
नहीं होगा. और वही हम अपने साथ कर रहे हैं. At the moment we are doing this to ourselves by being this all the time.
I think this survival mode was needed thousands of years ago when we were living in the jungle without any shelter.
Precisely.
And today with all the shelter, with so much of comfort, we don't need fight and flight.
Need this.
Most of the time it is unnecessary waste of energy.
I tell you what is the fight and flight mode now. It is the deadlines.
Yeah, true.
You see deadlines as, I have to finish this. That becomes, you're fighting against
it. That is where the hustle culture again comes into play, and that is feeding anxiety because it likes to do that to make, we call it productivity these days. But
it's not even being productive. Yeah, it's actually an illusion of productivity.
Yeah. We think it is productivity, although it is backfiring in multiple ways.
It's backfiring in every possible way. That is the reason why people are suffering with so much of gut issues than ever before, because there's a direct connection between your
Mind and
thoughts
the gut.
and your gut. Everybody knows this by now. Nobody needs to be told that your mind and gut has an axis connection, and then whatever you're thinking has a direct connection to it. People are having issues like constipation, bloating, acidity, all of that
Big time.
because it's here. It's this that's not stable. And they go to the doctor and say, कि मेरा पेट खराब है, you know, can you fix that? The doctor says, हाँ ये लो दवाई लो and you'll be fine. Nobody is telling them ये खराब है, fix this.
Most of the people are seeing other doctors for the issue that might be triggered from your mind. At times they are seeing a physician or a cardiologist.
In today's time, every problem that you're experiencing is psychosomatic in nature. It's all linked to your mind. It's all linked to your thoughts, especially your thoughts, which generates emotions. And because you put yourself into emotions, and we have never been taught how to deal with our emotions.
True. No emotional intelligence
No
was ever
emotional
taught.
intelligence. That's the biggest problem, and that's how we've been conditioned. We have never been taught how to take care of the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and therefore we are left out there, and then we are all thinking, why are we so numb? Why are we so lost? Why are we feeling so anxious? Because there has been no education that how do you control all of this? And we have been bombarded with so much of information. But these problems are now, are there for the world. People know this. These problems are now visible to them. And I say that yoga is one of the many solutions you can begin with, and one of the very powerful solutions you can begin with. It has so much power that it starts to work on all the layers simultaneously. So instead of you going to a therapist separately and another counselor, or you going to another healer, or you're going to another fitness trainer, do yoga.
And it works on all body types. It works on all body. It does not discriminate. It works on everything and anything. People with all types can do yoga.
Yeah. I would still say that there is a possibility that even though you're doing yoga, you might need the other modalities as well. In fact, I also practice many other modalities, and I'm not against any modality. But because yoga was always by my side, it made me aware of what else is needed. If I'm still falling short on certain areas, let's say if I'm still not able to do certain things, I will pick and choose that. But only the awareness will help me make that choice. Even if I'm not aware, I can't choose either.
That awareness is, I think, very important to take these big decisions of life, the important decisions of life. A lot of important things happen with that awareness.
Any small or big decision needs awareness. Even the fact that you're choosing to eat certain things or choosing to sleep at a certain time needs awareness. And those small little things, when done with awareness, builds awareness for a bigger goal. It's your mind will reject you if you commit to your mind that I'm going to do this, and you fail to do this. Your mind will reject you for a bigger decision. Your mind will say, sorry, I don't trust you because you did not even follow on the your own commitment of sleeping by 10:30. So that's how your mind gets into a battle with you, saying.
And that is what people are suffering most of the time these days. The battle with your own mind.
It's the biggest problem lies
The
between
battle with
the
your
2
own
ears.
Yeah, true.
Very famous saying there.
True.
सबसे बड़ा युद्ध यही है.
Correct. It is
आपको जीतना है.
Correct. Shynee, tell me about the role of sound, mantras, and chanting in the what impact does it have on the mental health of someone and in overall evolution of a person? What is the role of sound?
We are sound.
Okay.
We are sound. We are nothing but sound and light. हम नाद हैं. हम बने ही उससे हैं. And we just need to come back to our sound. So there's a sound in us which always existed and will always exist. this sound is not heard by many because we are too distracted with the things around us, outside us. So that's where yoga comes in. The fifth step of yoga, pratyahar, is withdrawal of your senses from the external and bringing it internal. Is the step where you actually are retuning yourself to listen to the sound that reverberates within us. And this particular thing takes ages, sometimes decades and decades. And that's why yogis practice for so many years, because they're trying to listen to the sound within that always existed and will always exist. The whole practice of yoga and the whole purpose of yoga is to do this. All the mantras given by the rishis and all the chants that we do are nothing but a most convenient way of telling us how to take that path back.
Okay.
They're just the tools.
Yeah.
They're just the tools so readily available to us, so easily available to us. I think we can't be luckier. We can't be more blessed that we have something so easily available to us that connects us back to the universe. So just by chanting, just by reciting these mantras, these chants properly with the correct pronunciation, you can attach yourself to the sound of the universe, which is also called as Nad. So they hold a lot of power.
I'm sure.
Lot of power.
Yeah.
And I was unaware of it for the longest time. And I used to believe कि क्या ही है मतलब, like I did not come from a background where this used to be my everyday thing. कई लोगों को घर में बचपन से है ये. They are very lucky. You know, they grew up with this. I wasn't. I discovered it much later. And since I have started chanting, I realized the power. If you sit and just chant any mantra that resonates with you, you will realize if by doing it daily, regularly, there's a different kind of energy you will start to attract, and you can be whatever you want to be. Just with the power of mantras.
Wow.
Just with the power of mantras. I was speaking to one of the senior businessman, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj from Bajaj Capital, and I asked him what is his daily wellness routine. So he mentioned that he said every morning while I'm traveling from my work, from my home to my workplace, I chant mantras.
Wow.
Every single day in the car, he said, without fail. And he said it's a 30-40 minute distance, and that's my travel time. I don't look at my phone, I don't reply to emails or anything. I just sit and chant the mantra because that's the time he gets in the day to do it. But he said that's been my regular practice for many, many years. And very powerful practices people have included in their daily routine because they've understood the importance of that. They've understood that this gives you the energy that your rest of the surroundings can't. It's beyond the human capabilities in many ways. Not in many ways, in every way actually.
They're very powerful.
Very, very powerful. And I would say, instead of me explaining you how powerful they are, go experience it by yourself. Chant and do it and see how you feel.
Yeah.
मेरे कहने से कुछ नहीं होगा, मतलब.
Any mantra that you would suggest to begin with?
Om is the mantra which has 3 syllables: A, U, M, U, Ma, Akar, Ukar, Makar. So Om is the most powerful mantra. If you want to begin and start your practice and learn it from a good teacher, the right way of chanting, and then just start with practicing Om. As you progress, whatever is your calling, the right kind of mantras will show up for you. You don't need to search and hunt for it. It will come to you. it will come to you as
I've
you
heard
need
this so many times from people who are very deep into yoga that it comes to you, and I really feel that very strongly. And you have to just get started. Things that are right for you will come to you.
सब चीजों के लिए वो true है.
बिल्कुल.
पूरी life के लिए वो true है.
True. One last thing, Shynee, I want to have a takeaway for the people is some basic things that you can suggest for someone who is facing anxiety, some asanas maybe, or some practice that you can tell them, or some routine that can help them at least take that first step towards moving away from anxiety.
So we spoke about anxiety, and because we are just like this all the time because of the environment. We are anxious, more anxious than ever before. So many deadlines, so many things to do, so many, and all these things that we're trying to achieve are self-imposed. By the way,
True.
Nobody's forcing us and putting us on a gunpoint. कि आज ये दोस्तों से भी मिलना है, आज ये भी पहनना है, आज ये भी करना. These are all our choices and our decisions which we are taking. So the fact is, there is no 5 poses for,
I think it cannot be like that.
It's the biggest myth. Let's do these 5 poses and your anxiety will be gone. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. What they're trying to say is, make yoga a part of your life.
At least get started.
With this. At least start with this. Nobody's telling you that only 5 poses will have a solution to your problems. They're just recommending you, please get started. Start with these 5 to begin with. Then you can keep adding, Yoga practice itself is designed in a way that it will bring awareness first to begin with, like we discussed. First step is awareness. And if you want to get out of your anxiety, you first need to understand what is happening in your body when you're anxious. So anxiety shows up in different parts of the body in different ways. For some people, they feel anxious in the heart. Some people feel anxious in the belly, in the stomach. Mostly these are the areas where you feel, some people say, I don't know why I'm feeling so breathless or heavy.
Yeah, true.
But if you're not even aware what's happening to your physical body, how would you be able to take care of it?
Yeah.
Anxiety को भगाना या दूर करना या उससे डील करना तो बहुत बात की बात है. पहले समझो तो सही हो क्या रहा है, अंदर क्या चल रहा है. So first you become aware, and that's where your yoga practice comes handy, because during yoga you're just building awareness. Then you connect with your body. You're building connection with the body when you are actually practicing yoga, and that connection helps you in all spheres of your life. So that connection also tells you, I am thirsty, I need water. It's time to have water. That connection tells you, I need a rest, there's too much information here. That connection tells you, okay, take a break. Connection tells you, okay, listen, you're overeating, I don't need this much food. That helps there. So you don't need apps. You don't need, these gadgets to tell you every time what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. You should be just focusing on what my body is trying to tell me.
Yeah.
Listen to the signals of the body and act accordingly. So similarly for anxiety, first get understanding of what is happening. The next question you can ask yourself is, what is it that's making me anxious?
So you gradually go deeper into it, and then you will find your ways later. So the first step is to get aware about it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you will go deeper into it and you'll be like, okay, what is making me so anxious? It's because I need to be at point A in this time and I'm short on time, and this is also pending and that is also pending. So I suggest simple solution for I would say for people who have mild anxiety, not very deep. They can simply start by writing everything.
Okay.
Put all your thoughts on paper. Say A, B, C, D, E is the list I have which is making me anxious. Plus this is the state of mind I have and I don't know what to do. At least you will have awareness of, okay, what is happening in me. Some people suggest post this. You can just tackle the stuff that at least are in your control. You can strike out some items which you feel can be done later. You can keep some items for tomorrow. You can schedule some items for another hour and start with only one thing to deal with it.
Yeah.
So if you deal with one thing and put a tick mark to that thing, your mind will get a signal, okay, relax.
As in
One
positive achievement.
Yeah, as a positive outcome, one thing is done.
Yeah. So it is a way of hacking into the system of anxiety by getting awareness and breaking it into smaller tasks, and then feeling better about it, so that you feel that happy high, and then you go deeper into it.
Correct.
I think that's a very
It's a very simple, logical way of dealing with it. Some people say, okay, you're not even in the state of mind to take that up as the first thing. Go take a shower. A lot of people suggest that a way to, overcome anxiety is just having a cold shower, or just dip your water in a cold, tub, like a cold ice bucket, or ice. What do you call that?
Ice tub or ice bowl.
Ice bowl, correct. So cold ice bowl, just dip your water, or to dip your face in that water. So even if you're not able to do, dip your face in an ice bowl, what you can do is just open your arms, look up, and say a powerful sentence. Something like, I'm blessed, or I'm grateful. So physiology of the body, the physical body is so closely connected to the mental body that as soon as you change the physiology, your mind gets a different signal, and mind also changes at the same time. So just by moving your movement helps big time. Just by opening your arms and looking up, you change the posture of the body. It's impossible for anybody to stay sad or depressed when your arms are open and you're looking up. Imagine
it's an open heart.
It's an open heart. It's a receiving position. It's where you're more connected to the divine. And if you're thinking something negative or anxious, you're suddenly like, oh, why?
Yeah.
It's a break. It's a pattern break. So you can try these techniques.
These are very nice suggestions, I would say, for a beginner, for a person who is new to this, because these are easy to do, easy to implement, and I think they can also give you results in a few days. Instantly. Maybe, yeah.
But if you have a more clinical situation, more clinical condition, I would highly recommend going to a doctor, seeking medical
that
advice.
is something, I think that is a different path. But if someone wants to start experimenting for improvement, I think these are really good hacks that you mentioned. And I think you brought up some really good ways to understand yoga, and also to easily hack into the system at times to improve your practice, or at least get started with the practice. It was a pleasure talking to you, Shynee. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you, Pranav. It was completely my pleasure.
Thank you very, very much.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching till the end, and please don't forget to comment below and let us know what would you like to hear about next. We will invite that guest on the podcast and have the discussions about the mindset and emotional intelligence. Please do like, subscribe, and share, and thank you again for watching till the end.